Hey, it's Angel, the hunting gear guy. I've got a Mossberg 4x4. This is the wood stocked model here. Just wanted to show you guys really quick. Just some of the overall notes about this rifle. This one's in 30-06 here, and you know, like the other budget rifles, it's a different tactic on cutting costs. So they've chosen to go higher quality on some stuff and go more inexpensive on others. Some of the stuff that I really like. This checkering is actually pretty nice. I'll crank you in. It's difficult to see on camera there, but it's actually very sharp and engaging there. One of the problems with some of the cheaper wood checkering is that it's kind of rounded and it doesn't really grab your hands. This stuff really grabs your hands here. And this part down here is kind of cool as well, how they kind of, whatever, bead blasted that or sanded it down or something like that. Just make it a little bit more sharp. The safety is fine. It's a toggle back and forth. Where I've got issues with this thing is that for whatever reason the grip feels like I should be right about here to pull the trigger. Keep in mind we're empty here, empty mag, empty chamber. And so I want to pull the trigger holding it right about here, but as you can see my thumb is way far away from the safety there. So to get my hand to where I need to use the safety, I really need to grab up on it. It's got a really thin, long wrist here, and by the time I'm up on there, check out my finger here, and to get it on the trigger, my finger is way through there. I prefer to use the pad on my finger to pull the trigger on a rifle just to get a little bit more control. And if I do that, it is kind of hard to grab the safety. So it's not a huge deal, it just seems a little bit awkward. The safety itself, rather the trigger itself, as you can see there, is almost like a Savage Aki trigger. It's got that cool little lightning bolt on the, whatever that safety, or whatever the trigger pad thing is there. And trigger pull is nice and crisp. So this is something really cool that they're adding on to all the cheaper rifles these days, is these Aki trigger-esque kind of triggers, and they're a lot better than the 5 to even 7 pound triggers that these rifles used to have. Now they've got really nice triggers on them, and they must be cheap enough to make because they seem to be putting them on all rifles now. Just getting down to the barrel on this thing. Again, I'm going to zoom in there, and it is fluted all the way down, which is kind of neat on a hunting rifle. And then it's got this muzzle brake at the end. This is something like I really disagree with on a hunting rifle that's using standard calibers like this one. This is a 30-06. You know, and for some people 30-06 is pushing it just a bit. But then don't get a 30-06. If you're hunting deer, go get a 270 or get a 308 or any of the other cartridges that offer a little bit less recoil. Don't get a muzzle brake and then have to either wear hearing protection while you're shooting or not shoot with your buddies because they don't want to be around you while that blast is right next to them. So that's kind of a pain in the butt, and I'd rather not see that on an inexpensive hunting rifle like this, because otherwise, you know, there's a lot of really cool things about this. The bolt pull on it is actually nice and smooth. And the trigger's really good. So that's two things on a budget rifle that you want really nailed. The magazine on this one is another place where they've chosen to cut costs. I'm going to zoom in on this one again. And as you can see, you're like, what kind of material is that? Plastic. All plastic. 100% plastic on this thing. I assume except for the spring that's in there somehow. And again, this is just one of those places where they had to cut costs somewhere. Rather than a lot of those newer mags, this one just has a nub on the front, so the release is still in the mag well there. And that's actually a good thing with this because it grabs in there nice and solidly, comes out. So I mean, at least I haven't checked the price on replacements for this this magazine here, but if they're cheap, you know what? Carry 2 mags and you're good to go. Again, this bottom part here, all plastic. Instead of being metal or instead of being wood on mag, it's just a plastic kind of surround that they throw in here. Plastic trigger guard, and this, like, I've seen some plastic trigger guards where you've looked at it and you kind of think, well, is that plastic or is that metal? No doubts with this one, it's plastic. You can tell right away from it. So it's a cheaply constructed mag and mag system, but I don't mind it too much. You know, the Axis one has that kind of crappy little release on the front of the mag, and so does the Remington. And those ones, you know, you could break them. Maybe, like, just presuming from the construction on this mag, I presume that it's cheaper. So if these are a lot cheaper and you can buy more of them, I think I'd rather have two crappy mags than one really mediocre one that might break anyways. So I don't think there's much else I wanted to talk about this rifle. It does have metal sling studs. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is because some of the other rifles, like the Remington 783, have those plastic molded in ones that if you were to put a bipod on or wrench a little bit, you might end up breaking them off. The butt pad is pretty stiff on this one. So, you know, if you're recoil sensitive, I wouldn't get one at 30-06. Get one in 270. I love 270. It's a perfect deer caliber. It's got enough distance to hit one at a ways away, and they don't kick as much. Mossberg does have these things in 270, and that's what I would go with if you're recoil sensitive. Now, that doesn't help much with this muzzle brake at the end, but you can decide what you do with that. Common competitors to this would be like the Savage Axis, the Remington 783, even the Mossberg ATR. The 100 ATR might be a competitor to this because it is kind of in that value segment. So there's a lot of other ones out there. This one might be the right one for you, might not. You can decide.